There's an event held recently with Deepal at the Village Green. The show was successful, and we thought we'll invite Deepal Sooriyaarchchi in our studios this morning. Good morning and welcome to our program.
Good morning.
If I asked you a question, there are lots of viewers who are watching you. Talk about positive thinking. Will you be able to tell them, how the positive thinking and how you can be successful in whatever things you want to do in life?
You can be successful only by positive doing, not by positive thinking. A lot of people make this mistake, right? It's not about positive. It's not about being just positive, I mean, in life, everything doesn't go the way you want. But what is important is to have the right perspective, accept the realities of life and move forward. And always find out, is there a different way to look at it? Because in any situation, the definition of the question has the answer in it. Let me illustrate this. You must have seen this picture, sometimes in some of these very underdeveloped countries, people carry pots on their head to bring water.
Correct.
You show this picture. Somebody, if you ask people, what do you think the problem they have? They will say access to water. The moment you think the problem is access to water, your mind goes to a solution like, can we bring water to them? Maybe pipe-borne water or bowsers or something like that. But if somebody is sensitive to these women, they might think access to water, true. But right now they have a problem. That is the problem of carrying. The moment you focus carrying, you will want to find an answer. What is the alternative to carrying? Then you will think, pushing and pulling. At the airport, we don't carry our suitcase. We don't push it either. We pull it. So can you pull water? Somebody has asked this question, and this guy has in Africa developed what is called a Q drum. It's like a drum with a hollow in the middle, so you can pull it along. Right? Or somebody says, no, that's not the problem. It's their poverty that is the problem. Then your mind works towards figuring out how can we improve their income. You see, same situation I look at from 3 different points of view. Right? Most of the time what happens is we get stuck with a solution in our mind without even realizing what the problem is. They say if you have a hammer, every problem is a nail. Right? So one of the most important things in life is the ability to define what the problem is. Question it. Look at it from different perspective. Then you get new ways to look at it. That's how you innovate, and when you innovate, you've got a new solution.
Something I entirely forgot to ask you, Deepal. Now you're involved with Sampath Bank and Hema Singer. How do you manage all this?
I'm on the boards of Sampath Bank, AIA Insurance, Singer Sri Lanka, Hema's manufacturing, Pan Asian Power. And in addition to that, I do my management consultancy work and coaching. I think I am a very lazy person.
I don't think so.
I can do much more. A very good question. A lot of the time people ask, how do you manage all these things? These things don't come easy. Right? And then people talk about this work-life balance. There's nothing called work-life balance. Right? Now, to balance, if you put 8 hours to work, then you should be able to put 8 hours to family. It doesn't happen like that. Right? The entire family needs to know what we need to achieve. Now, when kids are studying, you are not saying you are not spending time with us. You are studying all the time because you want that achievement. For that, you are willing to let go of something. Right? I remember when I started doing my MBA as a part-time, I had just married, and within the first few months, she had to be seen by a doctor, and if I were to take her on that day to see the doctor, I had to cut this class. If I cut that class, I had to repeat that whole subject again. Now, how do I solve this problem? I asked one of my close friends, can you take my wife to the doctor? Right?
Yeah.
And I will try to manage somehow during the mid-break I'll scoot out. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So my wife agreed to go to the doctor with my friend.
Yeah.
Now that's how you manage time, you know. Now if she is stuck and say, no, how can I go to a doctor with a friend, you know?
Yeah.
Because she knew how important this is to me, right? So one important thing is your stakeholders in life must be able to support each other, right? That's one. So how I do all these things? Thanks to my wife. Number two, do only what you are doing now, right? Right now I'm talking to you. That's the only thing I can do, and I give my 100% to that. So when you learn to give 100% to whatever you are doing now, you do it well, it's your best effort, and your results get, you know. And still there are so many things that you like to do. And thirdly, you decide what to not to do, because you cannot finish everything.
Yeah.
There isn't anybody who has finished everything and died. You will anyway going to die, right? So at this moment, what is the most important thing? And you take only that. That's how you manage your time. You can't manage time. You can manage only life.
Deepal, another question what I want to ask you is that there are lots of people with their temper is, you know, so very high at workplace and at home. And also now you have traveled India and so many different countries. Tell us about our public transport here and the frustration we have here in Australia.
It's all relative. It's all relative. If you think traffic is bad here, I ask you to go and try to drive in Chittagong in Bangladesh, or Lahore in Pakistan, or somewhere in India. It's all relative, you know. But talking about traffic, let me share a very interesting insight. You know, I don't think people toot the horn here very much, but in Sri Lanka it's very common. And this really happened to a friend of mine. He's somebody who doesn't like people coming and tooting from the back. And if somebody toots, he will not let him overtake. One day, he thought, let me see where he wants to go, and I'll follow him. So he took the car to the side, allowed that fellow to overtake, and he went just following him. He went, and he entered a hospital, stopped at the entrance of the hospital, and from the car they took out a patient. That day he realized, I don't know why the man behind me is asking to overtake.
Yeah.
Right? Now that day, if he didn't, he would have, you know,
different story.
Yeah. So most of the time we get angry because we only see our side of the story, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
And if we can think, maybe he has another side. You know, most of our problems, because we are not, for example, I show you this, and you will see, what do you see? You will see it is fair in color, and there are lines, and you know, all these things you describe. But I will say, no, it's not that. It's a different color. What I see from here. All what you have to see, well, Deepal, can I see what you see?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So if we learn only this, there's so much less problems in life, right? If we, it's not theory, you know, because we are, not everyone can explain how I feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you don't, and when you know that even ourselves, we are not very good in explaining how I feel, sometimes you don't know why you act in certain ways, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
Because behind your mind there may be so many other things.
Other things disturbing you.
Yeah. So if you can at least resolve to the reasoning that the other person must have a different reason than I have. The moment you get to that, you know, you can look at it differently, and it changes your perspective. Secondly, it is common that you lose your temper, because it's a part of human behavior. But if you can become aware at that moment, I have lost my temper, because this mind is very interesting. Mind always develops, or thoughts always come one after the other. Right? At this moment I have this thought which is angry. Then the moment I become aware, oh, I am angry, that thought is what is here now. Right? That is not the thought of anger. That is becoming aware of anger. But the anger is so strong, it will come up again. Right? Then you again become aware, I am still angry. Right? So you don't allow the anger to proliferate. You don't control anger, but you just become aware of it. Right? Then you know not to be driven by anger. Right? Don't try to suppress anger, because you cannot suppress anger, because it has come because you think, and people say, I get angry only when I see unreasonable things, only when things are unfair. Yeah, things are fair, you don't have to get angry. Why should you get angry? Isn't it? Only when things are unfair, only when things are not fair, not right. So the moment you become aware, then it changes the whole perspective. Now, I used to get angry with people, right, and fight with people. I remember long time ago, I was in a bus in Sri Lanka, and those days there was this no smoking sign, but people still used to smoke. And I was about 24 or 25 at that time, and this man was smoking. And what I did was I pointed like this, showed him a sign. He looked at me like this and pulled once more. I didn't know at which moment I pulled the cigarette out and threw it out of the window.
Oh my gosh.
Right. He got a shock, so he didn't hit me.
Yeah.
Right? Now that's reaction. But if you can be mindful, then you can respond. You see? Now to respond, you have to become aware. Right? It's a skill that you can develop. So more you develop this skill, right, then you can take a deep breath, walk away, isn't it? Or have a glass of water, just, and come back and do it. Because in anger, we are always, tend to make the wrong decision. Say the wrong thing, isn't it? Right? That's why I said when you're angry, don't write. I mean, today you can text, you can call, all these things are instant. So you may type the text, but don't send.
To take that anger through.
Because, and some people think you should let go by shouting and things like that. But there's no end. Haven't you seen? They scold, go back, and come back and again scold. Why? Because the more you scold, it keeps coming back, It's like a fire. Right? So best thing is take the fuel away, fire will subside. You don't try to fight with the anger. And some people are blaming themselves, oh, I'm a person, I'm very bad, I'm a hot-tempered person. Don't label yourself. You have so much good other than being angry. Not all the time, once in a way. At that moment I'm angry, this moment I'm not angry.
Deepal, as I said before, it's very, very interesting talking to you, and let me wish you all the very best.
Thank you indeed. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Deepal.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks.